Jai Radhe, Jai Shyam, Jai Shri Vrindavan.
Hare Krishna, welcome to Chirgat. This is the second day of our Parikrama here in Vrindavan. 2019 is 300 to 400 enthusiastic devotees. We've come here to try to let the Dham touch our hearts. And as usual, we don't go to many places, but we just stay in one place. And today we heard a very beautiful lecture by Srila Gurudev on the pastimes and the unalloyed love of the gopis. We hear that the name gopi actually comes from the word goop or gupta, which means to hidden. So because they keep their love hidden in their hearts, therefore they're called gopis. But even though it's hidden in their hearts, it still comes out. So, as always, the best way to enter into the special mood of these places, to break beyond the covering and the external layers, which aren't always so beautiful. The best way to actually enter into Vrindavan is through the ears. So we got to hear the wonderful pastimes as explained by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Jiva Goswami. And they conclude by saying that Krishna actually had no desire to see the gopis in this way, but he was just, this pastime reveals their unalloyed love. So by kirtan, by the association of devotees, even though this lila is far beyond our means to fully understand, still their unalloyed devotional sentiments can touch our hearts in some way, and through this parikrama we can gradually progress on the spiritual path, gradually release our desire to live in this material world and to be with Krishna. Of course, this place is still a village, so it's very beautiful, and as we come through the village, we see how the people are very simple, and they're naturally devoted to Krishna. They took their birth here. They sing about Radha and Krishna from their childhood. So that's also very inspiring to have their association. At this place, Chirgat, the gopis, the young gopi girls, they were 4 or 5 years old. Although they're just young girls, they had this desire, which was actually a very mature desire, to have Krishna as their husband. All of them developed the same desire at the same time, and gradually they came to know that all of them had this desire. Vrindadevi kindly instructed them how to achieve this desire to have Krishna as their husband. So they worshipped Katyayani, with a great vow for 1 month and performed austerities and chanted beautiful mantras to appease her, to get her blessings. And then at the end of that month, they finished their vow and they were taking their bath right here in the Jamuna River in this place, this Chirgat. And it was there that Krishna came with his young cowherd boys, 2-3-year-old cowherd boys, and stole their clothes and climbed the tree. And thus he accepted them as their husbands, accepted them as his wives, and they got Krishna as their husband. So it's a very beautiful pastime. And again, Krishna had there's no lust, there's no tinge of material desires, but it's just to reveal the unalloyed love of the gopis. So that happened here, and we can feel a little bit of that devotion by the Lord's mercy, and we're grateful to Srila Prabhupada and Srila Gurudev for bringing us to this place. Hare Krishna.
श्याम मिला दे
वृंदावन धाम पावन राधा तेरो नाम पावन श्री वृंदावन धाम पावन राधा तेरो
राधा रानी राधा मेरी स्वामिनी मैं राधे का दास जन्म जन्म को दियो श्री वृंदावन को वास
Vrindavan
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
So Hare Krishna, it's our good fortune that by the grace of our spiritual master Srila Prabhupada, we have come to a very historic place in our Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, the city of Jaipur. Of course, Jaipur, with all its charm and all its beauty, it's very popular with tourists who come from all over the world. It's sometimes called the Pink City. There's or there used to be, partially there still is a wall around the city, and it's been painted a pinkish or a saffron color. But for Vaishnavis, it has special significance, Jaipur. Well, its very name indicates. Jaipur means the city of victory. Pura indicates a village or a town, and Jai means victory. Like we say, Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtan. All glories to the victorious Sankirtan movement of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, city of victory. In what sense? Actually, this city was constructed wholly and solely, to begin with, to protect the deities of Srila Rupa Goswami, Shri Radha Govinda, and other Vrindavan deities as well, like Radha Gopinath, Radha Damodar, Radha Vinod. These deities are also very popular here. But as we've discussed and mentioned before in these videos, there were foreign invasions into this country beginning 1,000 years ago, actually, going on for some time. Actually, India was conquered by Muslim for hundreds of years. The British ruled here, etc. And in these invasions, particularly the Muslim invasions, the deities were in danger. They were destroyed, the temples were destroyed. So in one particular invasion in the 1700s, the deities of Vrindavan were attacked and temples were attacked. The devotees received notice of this imminent attack just in time. So many, or most of the deities of Vrindavan were removed very quickly, overnight. And the three principal deities of Vrindavan, you could say, of course there's 7 principal temples in Vrindavan, but in our Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, we first approach Madan Mohan to become freed from desire. We approach Govinda Dev to engage in his service and purify our senses so we can serve him in unalloyed devotion. And then we approach Gopinath and we serve him in the mood of the Brajabasis, pure unalloyed love. So Madan Mohan, Govindaji, and Gopinath, these deities, the focus was on those deities. They were removed from Vrindavan and they went first to Radhakund, where they were served for 7 years. A rumor got out that they were there, so the invaders wanted to come and harm them, so they were taken to Kamyavan. And from Kamyavan they were, well, again they were in peril, so the devotees were thinking where to take the deities to protect him. So one king, one Rajput king here in Rajasthan, this part of India, the kings were known as being very good Raj Rishis, devotees to the Lord and very powerful personalities. One king, Jai Singh, I believe it was the first or second, he offered to give protection to these Vrindavan deities, to Madan Mohan, to Govindaji, and to Gopinath. So it took some time, months or perhaps a year or more. The deities were moved secretly from Kamyavan down here to this like a desert-like region, you could say, Rajasthan, and they were received by the Raj Jai Singh in Amber. Yesterday our Parikrama party visited Amber, beautiful palace, beautiful fort. And the deities were safely brought to that place. Over time, different deities arrived at different times, but particularly Govindaji was given shelter there. And the king, after some time, he said, "You're the Lord, Govindaji, Radha Govinda. You deserve a proper accommodation and protection. So I will build a city for you. And you will be protected in that city from any invasions." So it took some time, but the king built Jaipur, a city of victory, meaning that the victory was that the deities were protected. And Jai Singh constructed the city in such a way that the temple at that time, and to some degree even today, that temple is right in the center of Jaipur. And the king, he built his residence maybe 100 meters from the temple. And he built his residence in such a way that when he woke up in the morning, he'd take his bath and do his various rituals, and he'd walk out onto the porch, and he could look directly into the temple and see Radha Govinda. This is a real king who rules in such a way as to make sure people prosper materially, because that's required, so one can be peaceful to worship Krishna. But he also is concerned about people's spiritual welfare. In Vedic times, the kings would tax the people to perform yajnas, because yajnas cost a lot of money to perform properly. He'd perform yajnas for the prosperity of society. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, "In the beginning I sent forth generations of men and demigods, and blessed them that by the performance of yajna, all desirable things will be achieved." So what is a yajna? Really, you could say a yajna means thank you. It's a way of acknowledging the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So kings like Jai Singh, the first, the second, and so forth, their succession, these were Raja Rishis, and they were Krishna conscious. So Jai Singh built the city. He built a big wall around the city, and the deities have been protected ever since. This is some 300 odd years ago. And no one is able to harm Govinda. Of course, no one can harm Govinda, Krishna, but he gives us a service. So many different types of services, and one service is to protect him. So as a result, these deities, eventually Gopinath came as well. He has a beautiful temple. Madan Mohan came, but eventually went to Karoli. That's another story, another pastime. Karoli is a city some distance away from here. Radha Vinod, the deities of Lokanath Goswami are here, and little Damodar. He had to leave Vrindavan as well. Damodar is the deity of Srila Jiva Goswami, and that deity was carved by Srila Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami carved the deity and gave it as a present to Jiva Goswami. So very significant, especially this month. This is the month of Damodar, this is Kartik. So our Parikrama party of almost 350 devotees, we're relishing going to these different temples and taking shelter of these deities. And if you think about it, it's quite amazing. These deities, who were, for the most part, were established by Brajranab, the great-grandson of Krishna, 5,000 years ago, rediscovered by the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan 500 years ago. One would naturally think that they should stay in Vrindavan, which is a good 4-hour drive from here. Another state, UP. So the history is they were moved here for particular reasons, so why not take them back? You could say they're Vrindavan deities, and they were worshipped with great devotion by the Brajavasis. So how is it that after several hundred years they remain here? Well, all you have to do is go to the Mangal Arti in the Radha Govinda temple, the main temple in the city, to see how much devotion the people of this city have for Radha Govinda. And when I first came here in the early 70s, I was just amazed the first time I walked into that temple, Mangal. I came a little early, and I'm ready to see the door open. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people suddenly streaming in, singing so many devotional songs from the heart. They have a group of men in the back who, have been singing, following tradition of singing for hundreds of years. So much devotion, and you just feel the atmosphere is electric. with bhav, with devotion for the deity. And they keep actually they have made the temple even bigger, but even now it can hardly accommodate the thousands of people who come. Literally thousands and thousands of people come every morning before they go to work, before they go to school, before whatever their activities at home are. Everyone, not everyone, but a good amount of the people of Jaipur, they come to see the Lord. That's our tradition. It's called samskara. Samskara means something that makes a deep impression in one's heart. So if you begin your day by seeing the Lord in His deity form, by chanting His holy names, by hearing His glories from the Srimad Bhagavatam, and finally tasting the foodstuffs that have been offered to Him in loving devotion, prasadam, it creates a samskara, deep impression in your heart. So when you go out in the world to work, as we have to do, it's difficult to forget Krishna. Of course you're working, but in the back of your mind, in your heart of hearts, you're offering all that work to the Lord because you had that deep impression in the morning. And perhaps because of the nature of that hard work during the day and being in contact with the material energy, you need a boost. We see the people here in Jaipur, they come back, the same thousands and thousands and thousands, I could say tens of thousands, they come back to see Govindaji, Radha Govinda, or Radha Gopinath, or Radha Vinod in the evening. So impressive to see a whole city Krishna conscious. We want to make our home Krishna conscious, we want to make our congregation Krishna conscious. When you see a whole city this Krishna conscious. So therefore our spiritual master Prabhupada came here. He brought his disciples here in the 70s to see, for their spiritual awakening, to see the devotion of the people of this city and to see the deities of Radha Govinda. I know my godbrother Tamal Krishna Goswami, he took sannyas with Prabhupada in front of Radha Govinda Dev. And Prabhupada met some of the royalty when he was here. So it's very dear to the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. If you have an opportunity, you should come here just to see the beauty, the architecture. The whole city was constructed hundreds of years ago for the purpose of glorification of the deity. It's just so beautiful, the architecture, the way the town's laid out. You can see here where I'm sitting, it's unique, somewhat maintained by the city authorities. So even for the purpose of tourism, for the beauty of the eye and the atmosphere here, you can come, but mostly to experience the deep devotion that comes from surrendering Atmanivedanam to these deities that were Radha Govinda, were the personal deities of Sri Rupa Goswami. Their history is another talk, how Rupa Goswami found them, actually how they came here. I gave a 2.5-hour class, but they're here. So if you have the opportunity, Vrindavan's only 4 hours away. Come and drink the beauty of this town, drink the beauty of the devotion of the people of this town, and see these beautiful historic deities, Govindaji, who's 5,000 years old, and all their glory being worshipped here in the city of victory, Jaipur. Hare Krishna, all glories to Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. By the mercy of our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, we find ourselves in a very wonderful forest here in Sri Vrindavan Dham. Previously, all of Vrindavan was forest, but through the years, those forests have been cut down for agricultural land. But we come to a forest like this, Tapovan, which is still very much like it was many years ago, and we get an idea what Vrindavan was like. We visited many forests during our Parikrama here in Vrindavan this year. Kartik Parikrama, we visited Bachavan, which was the forest of children, the forest of kids, Camelliavan, the forest of jasmine flowers, Birhavan, the forest of enjoyment, Kamyavan, the forest of desire, where all of one's spiritual desires can be fulfilled. And now we're in Tapovan. Tapo means austerity, and again, Van means forest, so this is the forest of austerity. And this is the place where the Braja Gopis came to perform austerities to get the mercy from Katyayani to have Krishna as their husband. A few weeks ago we were at Chirgat, and Chirgat is the actual place where the gopis were bathing in the ghat there, and Krishna climbed the big Kadamba tree and stole their clothes and climbed the big Kadamba tree. So that's a very, very famous place, the pastime where he stole the clothes of the gopis. But before that, for a month, the gopis came here to Tapovan, and they performed austerities. It's mentioned by Shukadeva Goswami in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam that one big part of their austerity was they just ate something similar to khichdi every day without salt, without spices. and they would bathe early in the morning in Gopi Ghat, which is part of Tapovan. Actually, the Jamuna River used to run right along here. So they would bathe in Gopi Ghat, and they would bathe in the early morning, and they would their vrata took place during the first month of winter. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that he is of seasons, he is that November-December season. So the acharyas say that because Krishna says he's that particular month, the gopis decided to do their vrat in that month because it's connected to Krishna. Everything the gopis do is connected to Krishna for his pleasure. So for 1 month they would come here and they would bathe very early in the morning, and they would just eat that like khichdi once a day, and they would take the soft sand of the Jamuna River and they would make a beautiful murti of Katyayani, and they would worship it with sandalwood pulp and flowers and so many different items, and offer artik like that. So that went on for quite some time, and when they had fulfilled that vrat for 1 month, they went to Chirghat, and there they took their bath, and at that time Krishna appeared. He stole their clothes and went in the tree, and they came out fully surrendered souls, Atmanivedanam, in such a way that Krishna accepted them. He accepted their desire like that. It's all very deep. It's all on the Madhurya Ras, the conjugal Ras. Our acharyas say actually everything, all the rasas that are all the relationships with Krishna, as a friend, or one may have Krishna as one's child, or all the relationships here in Vrindavan facilitate the amorous pastimes of Radha and Krishna, the Madhurya Ras, the conjugal Ras. It's all pervading. It's beyond aspiring devotees like myself, but the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, the 6 Goswamis, is that we're aware of it. We know it is the Param Gatim. We know who we are, we know who is Krishna, and we know that we have an eternal loving relationship with him. And Vrindavan is the perfect place for awakening that relationship. We have a long way to go. We're works in progress. Ado shraddha tata sadhu sangha bhajana kriya narta nivriti syat. Prabhupada said one time, real love begins when one is freed from material desire. So we have a way to go, but we're very content that we know what is the goal. And we know that by coming here to Sri Vrindavan Dham and visiting these different forests, visiting Tapovan where the gopis perform their tapasya, we're getting extra mercy. It's stated that any devotional service done in Vrindavan, the result is magnified 1,000 times. So we have that song we sing every morning. Jai Radha Madhava Kunji Bihari Gopi Jana Balaba Giravardhari. Prabhupada said that's the perfect description of Vrindavan. But actually previously, for example in Gaudiya Math, it wasn't sung because the authorities felt it was too intimate. Yes, but again, it helps us remember the goal, and our goal is to go back home, back to Sri Vrindavan Dham. Of all holy places, Vrindavan is the highest, and the deepest love for Krishna is exhibited by the gopis of Vrindavan. We worship from a distance. We come in here, we roll in the dust, we take the water of the sacred lakes and river and we put it in our head, and we pray one day that we can become qualified to serve our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, in his relationship with the residents of Vrindavan. We're servants of the servants of the servants. Coming to a conclusion now, our Kartik Parikrama, been here almost 1 month. We have many memories to take back with us. I pray that these memories don't fade. In the material world, everything deteriorates in time, so memories do fade, but we're all praying that these memories will stay in our heart, and if we can remember just one of them when we leave this mortal frame, then our deliverance is guaranteed. So thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for inviting us here and telling us we can wander and visit all these amazing holy places in the forests of Vrindavan. Hare Krishna.
বিলঙ্গতে অন্তচতাগতা গতিবস্তব গীত মোহিত গীত বজসিত কস্ত জন্মিষে রসি সংবিদ নিশ্চয়োদয় প্রসিতানন প্রেম বীক্ষণম বিয়দুরশ্রিয় বীক্ষধামতে মুহূর্তি স্প্রিয়া মুচ্যতে মন ব্রজবনৌকসাং ব্যক্তিরঙ্গতে বৃজিনহন্তলং বিশ্বমঙ্গলং তেজমনাক্স্তন্নতে প্রিয়াত্মনং সজনহীনুজাং জন্নিসূদনং যত্তেষু জাতচরণং বরং স্নেষু বিত্তাসনৈব দধিমৈ কর্কটেষু তিলক বিমটসি তদ্ব্যথতনি কিঞ্চিৎ কৃপাদির্ভির্ভবতি ধীর্ভবতি
Chintamani prakara sadma sukalpa vriksha Laksaviteshu surabhira vipalayanta Lakshmi sahasra shata sambrama shivyamana Purusham tamam bhajami Govinda Govinda Govinda
Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhana Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vrindavaneshwari Srimati Radharani Ki. By the causeless mercy of our spiritual master, the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Srila Prabhupada, our Parikrama party, this Kartik has come to the banks of Radhakund and Shamakund. I have any qualification for speaking about this sacred place and no realizations, but I've been asked to give this interview. In the Upanishadamrita, Sri Rupa Goswami gives a hint about the transcendental nature of this pond, this lake behind me, which is the personal bathing place of Srimati Radharani. He says Premamrita, he describes this water as liquid love, you could say, liquid love. And again, it's very confidential. This is the bathing tank of Lord Krishna's dearest devotee, dearest gopi, eternal consort, Anapayini, she who never leaves the association of the Lord. So we've come here with the blade of grass between our teeth, rolling in the dust of the sacred place, begging for her mercy that we can serve the divine couple. Radharani is in charge of devotional service because she has Mahabhav. Mahabhav means the greatest, purest love for Lord Krishna. Only 3 personalities have that love: herself, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Madhavinda Puri. And it's described in Upadeshamrita that even great saintly persons, even devotees, even our spiritual ancestors, they rarely, if sometimes if ever, can come to such a sacred place. So how have we come? We've come on the invitation of Srila Prabhupada. And we're doing here what we do in every sacred place in Vrindavan, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Shmaranam, specifically here at Radhakund. It's the most sacred place in the 3 worlds. One time one of my god sisters asked Srila Prabhupada, this is in 1974, 1975, if they, meaning my god brothers and god sisters, could come here and open a preaching center and do Harinam around the sacred lakes every day and distribute books and distribute prasadam and preach and make devotees. And interestingly enough, unique occasion, Prabhupada said no. He said Radhakund is for bhajan. Like he said about Vrindavan in general, he said that Vrindavan is for inspiration. This is the playground of God. Even now the Lord's pastimes are going on. Uppercut, they're going on at this very moment for those who have the eyes to see. Primanjani Chariti Bhakti Vilochanena. When all the dirty things are gone from the heart and that love of God, which rests as a seed in our heart, is awoken by the chanting of the Maha Mantra and service to Guru and Gauranga, then one can see those pastimes taking place even now. So these are the places of Radha and Krishna's most confidential pastimes. Actually, Radharani takes her bath here every day. Shyam takes his bath in Shyamakund every day. They meet here at 12 o'clock every day. Purnamasi arranges that pastime. Krishna leaves the cowherd boys and the cows, and he comes here to meet his most beloved. Such a sacred place. It's said that one who bathes in Radhakund achieves the same love that Radha has for Shyam Sundar, and one who bathes in Shyamakund attains the same love that Shyam has for Srimati Radharani. So these are very deep subject matters. We come here, we don't stay very long. Only the most qualified, elevated devotees come here to refine their the last steps in their pure devotional service. It's a process. We are progressing on the path of Krishna consciousness. We are works in progress. So we're understand our position. Ado shraddha tata sadhu sangha bhajana kriya anartha nirviti syat. Prabhupada said that real bhakti begins when one becomes freed from material desire, specifically from lust. Because lust means for me, and love means for Krishna. So although we're just getting an inkling of that love, we're getting a drop of that love by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas, we're still allowed to come here. Prabhupada allowed us to bathe here. He didn't want us to bathe in a frivolous way. He wanted to bathe with great awe and reverence, because at this stage of devotional service, that's how we're approaching the Lord. We dress our Radha Krishna deities like Lakshmi Narayan. That's stated by Prabhupada. We develop that mood of awe and reverence, and then through the process of Krishna consciousness we become purified. But still we're allowed to come here, to this place of the highest love, and worship Radha and Krishna. And we pray that we can get a drop of that prema and in our lifetimes become pure devotees of the Lord. In our ISKCON movement, we often say this is a preaching movement. This was the mood of Mahaprabhu when he came. Radha Krishna came, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radhe Krishna Nai Anga. The one became two in the personalities of Radha and Krishna. Again, they became one in the personality of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's the Yuga avatar. Although he's experiencing the highest sentiments of love of God, he was an active preacher. And so were all the acharyas who came after him, and so was our beloved Srila Prabhupada. A resident of Goloka Vrindavan, we're not supposed to speculate on his relationship, Radha and Krishna in the spiritual world. But when all these divine personalities were here on this earth planet, they were in the mood of preaching, delivering the fallen conditioned souls, sharing, especially Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the special message that the topmost planet is Goloka Vrindavan, the topmost love is the love of the residents of Vrindavan for Krishna, especially the gopis. So we know these things, and we know who we are, we know where we're going, we know what is the goal. But it's a preaching movement, and we're meant to spend every ounce of our energy assisting Srila Prabhupada to establishing Krishna consciousness, not only here but in the 14 worlds. At the same time, Prabhupada wanted his followers to become pure devotees of the Lord. He wanted that. We do that by a combination of our sadhana, our bhajan, and our preaching. So it is appropriate that we come here. Although these are the topmost pastimes still going on. Radharani's bathing tank, Shyam's bathing tank, their meeting place, there's Lalita's Kund, there's so many transcendental pastimes we can read about in Goswami literature. We're to come here for inspiration, for preaching, but to come here for inspiration, to become pure, unalloyed devotees of the Lord, so that we can exemplify that wonderful verse in the Shikshastakam prayers. O Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more, and tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain. Prabhupada wanted us to come to that stage because that is the qualification for going back home, back to Godhead. The ticket, the visa, is pure, unadulterated love for the Lord. So Prabhupada's happy when we're distributing books, he's happy when we're doing Harinam, he's happy when we're doing festivals, and he personally invited us to come to Vrindavan. In his purports in the 10th canto, he said he established the Krishna Balaram Mandir, so his disciples in their old age could retire here and do their bhajan and become pure. So it is appropriate, although it's the highest of the highest of the highest, it's appropriate that the neophytes come here, roll in the dust, bathe in the kund. Rupa Goswami says one should try to bathe in this kund as many times in his lifetime as possible and become purified, become inspired to preach and become pure devotees of the Lord. The perfection of Krishna consciousness is one day when we're chanting, tears of love will come to the eyes. I admit I'm quite far away from that, but I have faith in my spiritual master's words, that one day by his grace I can attain that, and all of us can live in the transcendental abode of Sri Vrindavan Dham and serve the divine couple. We're very grateful to Srila Prabhupada for bringing us to these sacred waters, and we will finish our Parikrama now, go back to Vrindavan and continue with our Kartik Parikrama 2019. Vrindavaneshwari Srimati Radharani ki, Radha Shyam ki, Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai Jai Sri Radhe Shyam. Hare Krishna.
Gopal re, Gopal re, Tobu tore na chari bore, Amari Gopal re, Kanhaya re, Tobu tore na chari bore, Gopal ya
Govinda, Hey Gopala,
Hey Govinda, Hey Gopala,
Hey Govinda, Hey Gopala,
Hey Govinda, Hey Gopala,
Keshava Madhava Dinadaya,
Keshava Madhava Dinadaya,
Keshava Madhava Dinadaya,
Keshava Madhava Dinadaya,
Hey Govinda, Hey Gopala,
Hey Govinda, Hey Gopala,
Hey Govinda, Hey Gopala,
Hey Govinda, Hey Gopala,
Keshava Madhava Dinadaya,
Keshava Madhava Dinadaya,
Keshava Madhava Dinadaya,
Keshava Madhava Dinadaya,
Dinadaya, Dinadaya.
Hare Krishna, during this auspicious month of Kartik, our Kartik Parikrama has come to Kamyavan, one of the 12 main forests in Sri Vrindavan Dham. Actually, the scriptures say that of all the 12 forests of Vrindavan, Kamyavan is actually the largest. It has a perimeter of 20 kilometers. And from time immemorial, it's been a holy place. We could go on for hours about all the transcendental activities and pastimes that have taken place here. Of course, this is a place where Radha and Krishna had many of their transcendental pastimes. Devotees come here because Kamyavan is that forest which fulfills all of one's spiritual desires. Kama can be translated as lust, but it can also be taken as transcendental love. Just like Srila Rupa Goswami says, as young boys are attracted to young girls, and young girls are attracted to young boys with the same intensity, but in a transcendental way, may I be attracted to your lotus feet, my dear Lord. So lust is supposed to turn into transcendental love. So when we say Kamyavan, it means that forest where one can come and fulfill all of one's spiritual desires. At this point in our lives as aspiring devotees, we're still conquering our material desires, but by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas, we know what the spiritual desires are deep in our heart. First of all, to become a good disciple of our spiritual master, to serve the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and one day to awaken that prema, that love of God that is deep within our hearts, that love for Radha and Krishna. So devotees come here, and in a variety of ways they pray to fulfill those spiritual desires that we hear about in Shastra, from Guru Shastra and Sadhu. It's a very nice place to come because this is a very historical place for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, particularly because when there were foreign invasions in India, well, for millennium actually, but specifically 500 years ago, the deities in Vrindavan were in peril. So the Goswamis and their followers removed those deities during one particular attack, one very vicious attack where the invaders wanted to break the temples and destroy the deities. And the beloved deities of the Acharyas, specifically Govindaji, Madan Mohan and Gopinath, they were brought here to Kamyavan. Actually, first they went to Radhakund, they stayed 7 years, hidden there. And after some time they came here to Kamyavan. And along with Govindaji came Vrindadevi. As we know, Vrindadevi is one of the 5 personalities who grants entrance into and residence in Sri Vrindavan Dham. She's very important to all Gaudiya Vaishnavas. She also is an assistant of Purnamasi. Mother Purnamasi Yogamaya, she organizes all the pastimes of Radha and Krishna in great detail, so Vrindadevi helps her. And we know that we pray to Vrindadevi regularly or daily in her form of Tulsi Devi in this material world, to become an eternal servant of Radha and Krishna. So that original deity, you could say the original deity of Vrindadevi, was established by Brajana, the great-great-grandson of Krishna. When Krishna left and devotees were feeling separation, he installed a number of deities, Krishna and Balaram, and different deities around Vrindavan, and he established the deity of Vrindadevi. Again, the invasions came, so the deity was placed in a kund, in Brahmakund, and 500 years ago, Rupa Goswami, and when he was in Vrindavan, he found Vrindadevi, and again, the invaders came, so she was moved out to Kamyavan. At some point, Govindaji, Madan Mohan, and Gopinath, they were to be taken to Jaipur for further protection. The city of Jaipur was actually built for Govindadev and the other deities as well. But when the devotees tried to move Vrindadevi from Kamyavan, she wouldn't go. She wouldn't cross the frontier. She so much wanted to stay here. As she said, Baladev Vidyabhusana quotes her to always increase the devotees' faith in Sri Vrindavan Dham. She took a vow, I will never leave. She said, Krishna may come, Krishna may go, but I will always remain here for the devotees to help them increase their love and devotion for Radha and Krishna. So that's a high point in visiting Kamyavan. Many other pastimes as well. This is where Yudhishthira and his brothers came, and the brothers drank the poisonous water from one lake. And Dharmaraj, Yamaraj, he asked Yudhishthira to answer a number of questions. If he answered them correctly, his brothers would be revived. He answered them correctly. Brothers were revived. That pastime, Dharmakund, also happened here. Again, we could go on and on. But yes, we come here to fulfill our spiritual desires and to take shelter, particularly of Vrindadevi. And we pray that by now we're on our way out, that our hearts have been somewhat purified, our material desires have been kept at bay, and our spiritual desires are much more prominent, more important to us, and we will try to fulfill them and fulfill the desires of Srila Prabhupada and our previous acharyas to share the glories of Kamyavan all over the world. Hare Krishna.
Govinda, Hey Gopala,